What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Thrive Talks with Josh Madrigal. Today, I wanted to do things a little differently. I wanted you guys to know a little bit more about myself. So, I got some questions set out just so you guys get to know a little bit more about me, and then we have a better understanding of each other. Okay, so let's start with the question. So, what inspired me to pursue a career in real estate? And I feel like I've covered that a little bit on my first podcast, but I think for me, what it was the reason why I started my journey in real estate was it's something that I always really wanted to do, especially like in high school when I was really thinking about a career or what I wanted to do. Was I going to go to college? I was playing soccer at the time. There's a lot of things I wanted to do, but all in all, I always thought about getting my real estate license. But at the time, it was really like, oh, I want to be an investor. I want to like flip homes, buy houses. You just dream big when you're young, right? And it's good to dream big, but I didn't know everything that comes with getting your license. Like you have to go to school, you got to take the test, you got to pass the test. It's a pretty hard test. Not a lot of people pass on the first time. And, you got to learn the ropes of how to be a real estate agent. It's a lot of things to do. Like, you got to pay these monthly dues, these quarterly, no, not monthly, I'm sorry, these quarterly dues. And then you got the yearly dues, so it's a lot of money that's put into like keeping your license active. So you can't necessarily just buy it and then expect and then try to be an investor right away. You kind of have to like start using your license and selling homes, helping people buy a house, invest in real estate. There's a lot of ins and outs that I didn't know at the time, but that's why I got into real estate. It got to a point in my life where I was doing jobs that I didn't really enjoy. I would be at work thinking like God, is this all for me? Is this what it's gonna be like for the rest of my life? I don't want to do this forever. I had a bigger vision, and I just wanted to pretty much break out of that rat race and break out of that typical 9 to 5. I did not see myself doing that for the rest of my life, and you know, just one day I came to a point where I had enough. I had enough of like doing that cycle day in and day out, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take the leap and you know put my faith in God that it was gonna be okay. Jump into a new business that I had some sort of understanding, but really not. I didn't grasp the full picture at the time of what it takes to be a real estate agent, and I'm still on that journey right now. So I'm not here sitting to tell you that I'm at where I want to be. That's why, like I said, that you guys are going to keep me accountable so you can see the journey of where I'm going. But that's really, in a nutshell, why and how I got into real estate. What did I see that made real estate attractive to me at an early age? Well, for me, it was really that, like, I come from a family that's always talked about real estate. I've had family that invests in real estate, they own properties, they own commercial properties. And that's something that was pushed onto me from my parents, my dad especially, saying that we need to invest in real estate. That it's really like it's an investment that doesn't depreciate. It appreciates in value. It's always going to be a positive. For the most part, it's always a positive investment. So when I first heard about real estate, it was with that behind me, that kind of mindset behind me, and people pushing me in that direction. So that's all I would hear growing up. Real estate's good. So what's the closest thing to real estate? It's either a real estate investor or a real estate agent. So I thought, okay, I need this license in order to like see properties that other people might not be able to see or get information quicker than other people can't really get. That was my mindset, at the time, and that's kind of what really attracted me to the real estate market or to be a real estate agent. But like I said, like I didn't know when I got into real estate, that was what I was thinking it was going to be, but it was something completely different. Like I said, there's a lot of things you have to pay. So you kind of have to like learn the ins and out of how to be a real estate agent, how to represent yourself, how to represent buyers, how to represent sellers. And there's a lot of like ins and outs that you actually need to learn and a lot of skills you have to master. I'm on that journey right now of developing certain skills, my conversational skills, my networking skills, and myself, how to sell myself and sell on the phones. Those are like skills that I need to master and that I'm practicing pretty much every day to learn and get better at. So what lessons that I learned from my childhood that I constantly reflect on? I think for me, and I've been meeting with a lot of people, networking, and I've talked to different people, told them a little bit about me, my story, how I grew up. But some of the things I think about the most that like impact the way I think, as far as like being ambitious, wanting to succeed. I think it comes from like having parents that like they've always ran a business. My dad, my parents, they used to have they've owned my parents, they've owned two restaurants. My dad's owned a nightclub and a restaurant at the same time. Um, and kind of seeing our progress of the way our life was when we had the restaurants. We had moments where everything was going good, right? And I was really little at the time. I was probably like I that whole process of us owning a restaurant to when we didn't own a restaurant anymore went from like the age 5 till until like I think I was like 15 years old. But the to answer the question, the lessons I learned of like not giving up, always trying, was probably from like my seeing my dad always trying new things. Like he opened up the restaurant, the first restaurant. It was great, really successful restaurant. It's still successful today. It's still up and running. We don't own it anymore, but um, so seeing him own that, then we lose it and have to open up another restaurant. My dad didn't want that. My dad didn't stop there. He didn't give up. He opened up another restaurant, and for a good 5 to 6 years, that restaurant was going good. And I also was there for the moments when it went bad, where there wasn't any business coming in. There's moments where like the restaurant would be dead. There's no one coming to the restaurant, and there was days where like I was there all 24/7 all the time. I started out right after school. I'd go to the restaurant and I'd spend the whole day there until we close at 10:30 at night, and I'd get home at like 11:30, 12 sometimes, depending. But there was days where we had this little like a jingle bell on the door, and there was days that I would go step outside. There's no clients, and the door would ring, and that would like alert my dad to, oh, there's a client. So there was days I'd open the door and he'd poke his head, and it was nobody. It was just me. And I remember that feeling of like feeling I don't know, it was like a painful feeling because I'd feel sorry because I was like, damn, like we have no business right now. At the time, we during that time, not a lot of people know that, but we started to lose a lot of things. I think we around that time we lost a new truck we owned. My dad owned. I just remember one night they came to our house and started throwing everything out of the truck, and they were taking our truck away. I guess now I know that we couldn't afford the payments anymore. We couldn't really afford a lot of things, so they stopped paying it. And I'm assuming we just stopped paying it, and they came and repossessed the truck, took it away straight from our garage at our house. Then the following months after that, I remember it was really cold at the house. I was like, man, why is it so cold? And it's because we couldn't pay the gas, the gas bill. There would be weeks and months we didn't have any gas, and it was cold. To shower, my dad bought this electric like water heater, like we would just put water in it, heat it up, and we'd shower with that to have like warm water to shower. And then maybe even a couple months after that, one night I remember they just started packing things into a truck, and we had no light, no gas, nothing. Um, they threw all my toys away. I only could take a couple things that we could take, and we were pretty much moving out. Like we couldn't afford the house anymore. Now, I know this now, but at the time I was confused. I was like, why is this happening? Like I don't really understand. But um, we ended up moving back to our trailer park where we used to live. That's where I actually grew up in. So we moved back to the trailer park, and this is like towards the the point where stuff is going downhill in our life as far as like business, you know. But so my dad ended up actually selling that business, and we used the money. He still didn't give up at that point. He opened up another restaurant. We had a pizza restaurant, and like as Hispanics, like we don't own pizza restaurants. It was different, right? But my dad didn't want to he didn't want to go back to that the old lifestyle of like working at a typical construction job or doing a hard labor job. He wanted to get out of that kind of lifestyle. He wanted something better for himself, right? And for me, that to make this whole story shorter, what it taught me was like, that you have to like fight for the things you want. Like it's not easy. Life's not easy. Nothing comes easy, and you really have to like fight to have a better life if you want to. No one's coming to save you. Like you have to save yourself. You have to pull yourself out of like holes. You have to just pull yourself out, and you have to figure it out. That's what it taught me. And but yeah, my parents played a big role in like influencing me and the way I think and the way I do things. I talked a little bit about my dad already, but he for sure influenced me till this day. Both of my parents do, my mom and my dad. Yeah, like I said, I talked a little bit about my dad. Um, my mom, she influenced me like a lot. Yeah, the same as my dad. They're both completely different mindsets. They think differently. My mom's kind of like a go getter. She's always done some sort of like business. Besides doing her 9 to 5 job, she always has something that she's doing after work. Her side hustle, I guess you could say, quote unquote side hustle. She's always been business minded. I would say that's probably where I got. Well, really, it could be from both of them, but maybe it's my mom that's influenced my business mindset. Always wanting to figure out a way to like make more money or like just hustle on the side, things like that. I know I've always gotten that side from my mom. Seeing my mom like she obviously was there through all the struggles we had, but she was always kept a positive mentality. I would say one of the biggest things I got from my mom was having that like very like ambitious and positive mentality. My mom's very positive, and I would like categorize myself as a positive person. I'm I'm ambitious, and I also like to, I always like to see the good in things. I'm not really a pessimist. I don't like to I really don't like negativity around me. Even when there's negative things that happen to me, I like to see the good in it, and I feel like I got that from my mom because she's always positive. She's always like encouraging me to do better, encouraging me to do things, and that's how she carries herself as well. Very positive, uplifting person. She's very selfless. She does things for a lot of people, and sometimes it hurts her. Like it could be something where she puts too much energy in other people and always forgets to put that back in herself. And she's a very giving person. And I tell her all the time, you have to like learn to like give yourself time as well. Like don't she sometimes she runs out of time because she gives so much time to other people, and that's good. It's good to be a people. She's just a people person in general, and I get that from her as well. But there's a time and place for things, and you have to like at some point realize I have to focus on me. You need to grow as well, and I feel like I got that from my mom. She's great. A really big part of my life growing up was has to do with like soccer for sure. And my parents got me into that at a really young age. I grew up playing soccer from 3 years old. Um, I don't even remember when I first joined a team. I have pictures to remember, but my first memory of like getting into soccer, I think I was like 4 years old. Like, and my dad told my older brother, "Hey, like put him in a team." And my older brother, being my older brother, he didn't really listen, and he put me on his team. And mind you, we're 6 years apart, so I remember when I got on the field, I could not even touch the ball. Like I felt like they were all running around me because they were 6 years older than me. I was 4 years old trying to catch the ball, but I couldn't. They're older, faster, stronger, way more advanced, and I was just chasing. But I didn't care. I was happy to play with my brother. I was like, oh, we're playing soccer together. So that's how I first got into soccer, and those were the good times, good memories right there. So like I said, soccer's been a big part of my life growing up, and it was also maybe even like now thinking about it, it was I used it probably to like cope with a lot of the stress back at home, things that would happen at home, and the business failing, us losing a lot of things. So this is around the time that I really started like to have a big interest in soccer, and I started playing at a higher level. I was I was really just enjoying it more. I focused in soccer a lot more. And I mean, like I said, now looking back at it, I maybe used it as a coping mechanism because like when I would play on the field or just put my cleats on, I'm hanging out with my friends, we're gonna go kick the ball, I would forget about everything. I wouldn't even think about what's going on at home or our problems, issues. That none of that mattered in that moment. All that mattered was about playing, winning, and having a good time. Everything that happened at home was just out the window, and all I would focus about was soccer in that moment. And of course, once that's over, you go back home, you go back to reality. But it was for sure an escape for me, and I still use it to this day. I still play soccer to this day, and now I use it as like for fun. I'm very passionate when it comes to soccer. I love playing. I'm still competitive. I'm still the same way. Now it just translates a little differently because I'm at a different point in my life. So, but I still use it to this day as a point of like relieving stress and being active. That's really the main importance is to just stay active. So I went through a lot of moments in soccer that are very memorable, but one in particular. So there's two really, but I'll speak about one because I just think it was crazy that I was doing this at like 14 years old, 15 years old. No, I was 15 at the time. Um, so I had just gotten back from Scotland. I went with a buddy of mine, Curtis. We went together to Scotland. We had to play for this professional team called Rangers FC um, out in Glasgow, Scotland. But anyways, after our trip out there, we came back. We get an email that we're getting called back up by the same team, but to come play in Georgia, Rome. So like, okay, it's here in the United States. Um, we'll make the drive. But like at the time, we didn't realize, okay, who was driving? Our parents is our parents driving? My parents weren't gonna drive me. They were too busy with work. They were always working, so they hardly had time to really come and you know to my games or go to take me to my soccer games or they weren't gonna have time. Basically, the bottom line is they weren't gonna have time to take me all the way to Georgia, Rome. So it came down to Curtis. I was like, okay, Curtis, like, how are we gonna do this? And me thinking, oh, it's gonna be his mom taking us. She's gonna have time to take us possibly. No, so he just got his. He's a year older than me. I think he was 16 at the time. He had got his license early, and he had this truck. And he's like, okay, well, we're gonna hit the road. We're gonna go together. So I'm 15 years old. I think I told him that I knew how to drive, which was kind of a lie. I only drove in my neighborhood. I didn't know how to drive on the streets, let alone the highway. So he asked me, he was like, hey, well, like, I'll drive us, but, you can help me out, right? I was like, yeah, yeah, I'll help you out. But, I knew that that was kind of a lie, that I wasn't going to be able to help him because I was just going to be too scared to drive on the highway. And I remember on our way there, a lot of the time when we get to a stop, he'd be like, hey, like, how do you feel about driving? I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel. I barely started driving. He's like, oh, okay. The good thing he was really cool about it, and he was down to like just take the whole drive by himself as long as I, kept conversation with him and like, and keep him up, right? So which I did. So, anyways, it was such a long trip. I think it was like it might have only been a 12-hour drive, but we made it like 15 because we were going like slower. We weren't really going as fast, and we took a lot of stops, like rest stops, especially because Curtis was doing the whole trip on his own, really driving. And I remember we got to, I think it was Louisiana. We got to Louisiana, and it was getting dark at this point. I think it was like 8 o'clock, and he was just tired. He couldn't really drive anymore. And mind you, he's 16. I'm 15 years old, and we're in the middle of nowhere. I call my mom and say, hey, like, we're gonna have to stay here. Like, can we get a hotel? Try to figure it out. We got to the hotel, or no, we called the hotel, but they couldn't book us because we were under the age. So we couldn't get a hotel. They wouldn't allow our parents to call and get us a hotel. Like, they weren't letting us do it. So we're like, well, screw it. What are we gonna do? We have to stay here. We can't keep driving. And so we try to find a place that was like lit up and visible, and like where a lot of cars would be. And we parked outside of a McDonald's, and we just stayed the night outside McDonald's. He slept in the bed of his truck, and I slept in the back seat of the truck. And I remember thinking like, damn, this is crazy. Like I'm little. I'm like 15 years old. Like, and I'm out here doing this. Like kind of like my parents didn't even know I was doing this. I think I told them that his mom figured something out. I basically lied. I didn't want them to freak out. I'm not sure if he lied. I can't remember if he did or didn't. But I just remember thinking, man, this is crazy. All to like chase a dream to like, you know, pursue a career in soccer, try to go pro, because I mean we did a good job in Scotland, and we're getting called out again. So in our minds, like, oh, well, they see an interest in us, right? So we have to make it. And it was just that like that desire to like make it. We were willing to go through like uncomfortable situations, and I mean in life you kind of have to go through uncomfortable situations to really succeed. Not everything is going to be comfortable. You know, a lot of the things that a lot of times to succeed you need to be uncomfortable. And yeah, so that's one memory that like that I remember that I was like, man, it was just crazy. It was a great experience overall. We ended up making it the next day. We made it like in the like midday, like 5 o'clock, and yeah, it was a great week there. Honestly, soccer influenced a lot of the friends I have to this day. I think I've met pretty much all my friends that I still speak to, or people that I know have met me through soccer, some shape or form. It's either like, oh, we played at a pickup game together, or I met them through high school, or they knew me through club soccer, or just playing at Soccer City here in Tulsa. Um, Soccer influenced pretty much all my friendships up until now. I still make friends through soccer, and I think soccer is a great way to like network as well, because I feel like it's always easy to network with someone when you have a similar interest, and especially in a sport, because you can go out there, play, have fun, and we can talk about it, laugh about it after. That's kind of the vibes that it is now. Like when I go to Soccer City, we go play a game, then argue why this person didn't do this or that, and laugh about it after, and then we just hang out and chill. And it's always like a fun environment to be around, and that I would say that's how that soccer still influences a lot of my friendships till this day. A cool little story, like I remember just now thinking about like kind of how like where that hustle mindset came from. Like I said, I feel like it came from like my mom always wanting to figure out a way to like make extra money. And I remember when I was in high school, to go to that trip to Scotland, it was an expensive trip, and we had to pay for our ticket, and we didn't have the funds to like pay for the full ticket. So like the price that we were paying would cover the ticket and pretty much all food and expenses through the this I forget what it was. It was like a camp that they were having, and they were gonna like chaperone and take care of us, feed us, show us around Scotland. But to to make money and to do my part, I remember in high school, I would take candy, like a bunch of candy, like Mexican candy, and I would sell it to people. I would like start texting people every day, like, "Hey, I'm bringing these candies tomorrow. Let me know if you want some." And then I started building up my little clientele there, and sometimes like there's even this one time I remember I was heading up the stairs from the cafeteria, and some guy met with me at the stairs, and he was like hey, like I want to get some candy. I was like, okay, so I opened my bag up, and at that moment when opening my bag up, I one of the like the I can't even remember if he was like security or something. He's like, hey, what do you got there? And I'm not gonna lie, our school was a little ghetto, so they probably thought that I was like selling drugs or something. And I remember in that moment, I've never been that kind of person to like. I don't think I've ever gave off that vibe that I'm selling drugs. So in my mind, I kind of felt a little disrespected. I was like, nah, like what, man? I showed him the bags. I'm just selling candy, you know. And I just remember that feeling. I was like, it's like, what the heck? I would never do that. I don't sell drugs. That was just my mentality. I just played soccer. That's it. And and yeah, I'm just trying to make some money to go to Scotland. That's it. And I remember I'd sell those candies, and I built up my clientele. It's pretty cool. And also, the good thing is my soccer club. I actually got this opportunity through the soccer club I was playing for, WSA, and they actually allowed me to clean the bathrooms at the soccer fields to make some extra money, and that was going straight towards the trip. So I remember those moments. Those were really cool moments of like, hustling, trying to accomplish a goal, which was to go to Scotland to chase my dreams and as a soccer player. Why did I grow my beard back? So I was getting clowned. People, no, I'm just playing. I didn't get clowned, but people thought that I was a lot older than I was. I like not just my friends, but like I even had the title company. This lady that does my closings. Her name's Delcy. She's great, by the way. But she's like, you look a lot older. I was like, oh hell no, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with the mustache. I was like, I'm younger. I promise. I don't think 24 is that old. I think it's my prime years. But so that's why I'm growing back. I'm growing back the beard. Letting the mustache. That part of me, it's gonna fade away soon. That was a quick little phase, a little 2 to 3 month phase, and we're back. We're back with the beard. They say that the beard makes me look a little more my age. But yeah, that was a quick little side note for this podcast. A little quick side note. There's a lot of my friends out here that I hang out with on a daily basis. They like to clown me for the mustache. They call me all kinds of names. I've been called Hitler. I've been called what else?
Okay, Mario, Luigi.
Mario, Luigi, um, all kinds of things. Yeah, but either way, they're not why I'm growing it back, but just a lot of people telling me that I look a lot older than I was. Like, all right, it's time to let it grow back. Time to let the beard come back. So yeah, that's where I'm going through right now, guys. Just letting you know, a little side note. I just wanted to give you guys a little more insight about me. That way you get to know who I am, my struggles, things that I've gone through, and you just get to understand a little bit of how I think, how I feel about things, and you get to see the influences. So I hope on today's episode you guys got that from listening, and I hope you guys enjoy. And like I've been saying, I really appreciate you guys staying tuned. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. And like I've been saying, please like and share the podcast. That's the only way I can grow, and it helps me bring on different guests, have different kinds of conversations. And I hope, we just keep growing together, keep me accountable. I want to grow, and I hope this podcast inspires somebody, to want to better themselves as well. And they want to grow. And, if I can inspire just one person, that's a win for me at the end of the day. So, and again, guys, thank you so much for watching.